Hi, my name's Rob.
My name's Charlie.
My name's Lily.
This would have been going back in 2018, 2019. Suffering from some pains in my hip. Was back and forth to the doctor countless times. Physiotherapy I was offered, and I was told I had a trapped nerve or maybe start of arthritis, and it was going on and on for ages. I ended up eventually kind of just taking painkillers just to numb the pain. I was finally referred to a spinal specialist who, after 5 minutes, turned around and told me that I don't think it's anything to do with your spine or your hip or anything like that. I think it could be something more serious. And this was just during the start of kind of lockdown as well. So I managed to get referral to St Mary's, where I had an X-ray, and then very swiftly, a couple of days after, I got referred for an MRI scan and then a CT scan, and then finally on a Friday, which was when we were in lockdown, I had a phone call from a consultant to say I need to go in on a Monday for a biopsy, as there was a suspicion that it was some form of cancer. And I went in on the Monday, had the biopsy done, waited a few weeks, and then got the phone call, I need to come in and see oncologist at QA Hospital, who then confirmed that it was lymphoma. And that's where the journey started really from there. 2020, wasn't it, during lockdown. And then we met our consultant, Anna Callahan, over in Portsmouth, so me and yourself went, wasn't it? And by the time we'd already gone to see her, we already had a plan, wasn't it? Which was great, you know, this is what it is. You've got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, you have a mass in your hip, and we're going to start you on a course of chemotherapy pretty much straight away.
It's quite urgent, wasn't it?
It was. It was to the degree that she said that it was such a big mass in there, surprised that my hip hadn't kind of crumbled apart. And it's like, yeah, so we're going to start with chemotherapy from pretty much, what, a week later, was it? Maybe a couple of weeks later?
A few weeks later.
So it was kind of, well, people knew, didn't they? We'd said that I was going for scans, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
family were aware. But then it was, you know, your mum lives in Spain, so it was a phone call to her, wasn't it? And then,
yeah. And also it was lockdown, so we couldn't meet up with people.
That was difficult as well.
I think at that point it was meeting in small groups, wasn't it? So it was difficult because you couldn't really see anybody.
No, I remember me having to go arrange my family. I got older brother, younger sister, so we had to kind of arrange them to all come around my mum's house, and it was a kind of sit down and this is what it is kind of thing. So that was quite, you know, emotional, because it's, again, you hear the word kind of cancer and then everyone thinks the worst, and I'd never experienced it really in my life. My granddad had passed away from lung cancer when I was 3 or 4 years old, and no one else in my family had been impacted by cancer, so it was always one of them things that you saw on telly and you heard on the news and stuff. So, and then it's telling friends, wasn't it, as well? And again, being in lockdown was difficult as well, because you're having phone conversations with people, or you're trying to meet when you're allowed to outside and to talk about it. And that was 2020, wasn't it?
Had 9 months of treatment, didn't you? Chemo, radiotherapy.
Methotrexate. So in that hospital, radiotherapy was beginning of
January 21.
And then got the all clear in April.
No, it was June. It was a year to the day you got diagnosed, you got remission.
Yeah, managed to get the all clear for a year, wasn't it? And then I went
9
back
months.
for a regular checkup, wasn't it? Because I was having regular bloods and PET scans. That's what they're called, isn't it? Yeah, PET scans. Just to check, because that was the only way they were really identifying. The bloods weren't showing anything, and I wasn't presenting traditionally, so went for a PET scan every 3 months. They were showing okay. Went for a routine PET scan to be told that they've seen a mass again, and it seems to have come back again. And that was officially on your birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
April the 19th,
2023, 22.
22. Yeah. And then it was starting again, and because I'd relapsed, it wasn't going to be as straightforward as just having chemotherapy again. The best course of action, they said, was to try and get rid of it completely, was to have a stem cell transplant afterwards. So 3 rounds of chemo followed.
Hospitalised chemo, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
hard, that one.
And then I had my stem cells taken out at Southampton General. And then I had them put back in on my birthday, July the 14th, 22. Was in hospital for another week there, got transferred to QA for my recovery. Was in there for 3 or 4 weeks. Then I was allowed home, and then it was just a journey of recovery. I mean, initially, obviously I had it previous to being diagnosed, and that, you know, apart from my symptoms of the pain in my hip, you know, I wasn't presenting the other way. I didn't have any lumps and bumps, things like that. So there was obviously something wrong with me, and it was just pain in my hip. Once, obviously, I started my treatment, you know, I feel like anyone going through it, you know, chemotherapy is awful. It doesn't affect just you on a daily basis in terms of the recovery and how ill you're feeling. It affects everyone else around you. So I was off work on multiple occasions. I was, you know, sick a lot of the time. I was in bed a lot of the time. It was put on Charlie to do everything, really, kind of support the family, look after my daughter, worry about the bills and things like that. You know, I was very lucky. Work has been great on both occasions. I've been fully supported by them both occasions. But, you know, for me, it's, I suppose for anyone, it's, if you're feeling you've got a cold and you feel rough, you just kind of deal with it yourself, and that's how you feel yourself. Everyone else just gets on with things around you. But, you know,
I think as well, when you've got a little one to look after, life has to almost feel a bit normal. And I think first time round, it was a really not normal time with COVID.
Yeah.
And where Lily was at home a lot and being homeschooled, and I was still trying to work. I think that time, because Lily had only just turned 8, we actually didn't really tell her much, and actually kept from her really what was going on.
Yeah.
Obviously Rob lost his hair, but, you know, we said you shaved it off for charity, didn't we?
Yes,
just to
we did,
protect her a little bit, so she wouldn't worry. But then obviously second time round, as Lily was 10, we did have to tell her then. So you're a lot more aware of it then, weren't you?
Yeah.
A lot more aware. But you were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got through it, didn't we? So we first came to Poulton's when Rob was having a stem cell transplant done. I bought Lily as something to look forward to for a day out, and we were on our own, weren't we? It was a really hot day, we had a great day here, and then we did say we will come back with Rob as soon as he was up to it, which we did do. So then when Rob was better, we did come back with him, and we spotted the lymphoma owl, which was really strange because where we're so aware of it, we were just really taken back by it, weren't we, when we saw it? And we got a really nice photo of Rob and Lily with the owl, and yeah, it was really special actually, because it just felt really significant how last time we came it was just Lily and I on our own because Rob was having his stem cell transplant, and then to come back with Rob in remission and seeing the owl, it was nice. It was, yeah, it was really special.
Yeah, because I'd obviously seen the photos of when you'd come back from Poulton's that day, and they say you kind of had Lily kind of posing with the owl. And it was, it was quite a significant thing coming back, knowing that, you know, when you first came, I was, you know, very ill.
Yeah.
And when we came back, you know, I was in recovery, and it was just nice to kind of share that experience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
About these amazing people, these much smarter people than me, you know, working day in, day out to find, and, you know, lymphoma obviously just being one of the cancers, but just without the research that goes into it, you know, it would affect so many more people. You know, again, you just hear the word cancer, you automatically think it's a death sentence, you automatically think, you know, what is life going to be like? You know, to go through it twice, and to have the different forms of treatment, you know, I just didn't have chemotherapy and radiotherapy, I had a stem cell transplant, you know, I had the methotrexate, there's so much goes into it, and without the support that these charities can give to the cancer research, it's going to affect so many more people, and I think that there's so many people affected by this on a daily basis. The research just needs to kind of keep going, doesn't it? It's just, yeah, wouldn't be here without it. There's so many people, you don't appreciate how many people are going through, this specific kind of cancer for me, and asking questions, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On there, and getting people who not only going through it like myself, but living with it, supporting their family, and asking questions and reaching out. I think without charities like this, without organisations like this that are there to offer advice and help and support, and just maybe a bit of guidance or maybe a bit of comfort, and hopefully people seeing this kind of say, like, if I am diagnosed, it's not necessarily the end. It shows that and even if you relapse, it shows that there is still a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's for what you do is fantastic. And I can't thank the people at the hospital. My consultant, Anna Callahan, was amazing for me, amazing person, and say all the nurses who looked after me as well, through some awful times. It's a thank you for me, from the bottom of my heart.